Hi folks, before we begin, please be aware that we are recording this webinar. If you have any questions about the resources, we encourage you to follow up via email at support@electionsgroup.com. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Annie and I'm an election expert with the Elections Group.
And I'm Rebecca, the Communications and Program Manager for the Elections Group.
For those of you who may be joining us for the first time, the Elections Group is an election administration consulting firm. We partner with state and local election officials to implement new programs or improve processes for voters and stakeholders. We provide guidance, resources, and direct management support for jurisdictions. Our team is made up of former election officials and election experts from across the United States. We're pleased to have you all with us today for our next highlight of resources for the election administration community. Each week we'll showcase resources from the Elections Group, paired with resources from other organizations in the election space. Every 4 weeks we'll focus on a different topic, and then we'll take a deeper dive into the resources available each week.
This month, we will focus on election security. This week, we are highlighting the Elections Group's Running Secure Elections with Confidence, Ensuring Physical Safety for Election Personnel, and CISA's Cybersecurity Toolkit and Resources to Protect Elections. Let's get into the resources. All right, up first, we have our tag resource. It is a guide titled Running Secure Elections with Confidence, Ensuring Physical Safety for Election Personnel. And it addresses the need for election officials to develop a plan to protect themselves and their staff. So much focus in the past several years has been on security in elections. The potential of cybersecurity attacks shutting down sectors of government helped to stimulate the elections community to closely scrutinize the routines, procedures, and equipment utilized by election officials. Election officials have since participated in a wide array of trainings and exercises on these topics to help prevent and respond to physical threats and cyber attacks. Election officials have implemented new policies, new priorities, and new equipment to ensure safe and secure elections. Starting in 2016, election officials became acutely aware of the threats posed by cyber attacks against their offices and elections infrastructure. They responded quickly with structured training and security exercises, enhanced communications and new security protocols. Fortunately, the workforce we depend upon to run and administer elections is resilient. This resiliency is evident now as the elections workforce stands against a new type of election threat: violence against election officials. For more than 4 years, election officials across the country have experienced these threats. The impact is real. A significant percentage of election officials resigned in the wake of these threats, taking with them years and often decades of institutional knowledge. The reality ahead is that election officials will continue to face threats and violence. Today's election officials, while extremely resilient, face unparalleled exposure to a range of threatening activity. Online threats expose election officials to a greater degree than ever before. Our previous paper, Defending Democracy, Protecting Election Officials from Online Threats, details how digital threats develop, how social media can increase their impact, how threats can have a devastating impact on your sense of security, and how you can protect yourself online. This paper addresses the need for election officials to develop a plan to protect themselves and their staff. Security plans can be ready-made and quickly implemented if a threatening situation emerges. Election workers can counter threats with preparation, quick action, and coordinated support from security partners. There are 3 aspects of physical security that are addressed in the plan. 1, building cooperation with law enforcement. 2, heightened office and work time security. And 3, improving personal physical security. Download the guide and get started today.
Thanks, Rebecca. The Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency provides election officials with guidance for enhancing the physical security of voting locations and election facilities. This document emphasizes the connect, plan, train, and report framework to ensure preparedness. This includes building relationships with local law enforcement, creating emergency and security plans, training election workers on de-escalation and threat identification, and fostering a culture of vigilance. Planning is essential, requiring election officials to assess risks, develop emergency response protocols, and design physical security measures. This may include evacuation plans, secure transit and parking, and coordination with law enforcement. Election officials are advised to train poll workers in handling suspicious activities and emergencies, such as identifying potential threats, managing active shooter scenarios, and reporting incidents. Regular drills and exercises of the emergency plans are also encouraged to ensure readiness. CISA recommends providing your employees and volunteers with a plan on how to report suspicious behavior. Post details on reporting suspicious activities and encourage your team to report. When you see something, say something. Finally, CISA offers additional resources for securing large-scale voting sites and soft targets like sports venues. They provide customizable last-mile election security products and collaborate with the EAC to develop comprehensive guidelines for election infrastructure protection. So the link to that will be included in the chat. Download it today to get started. We also wanted to highlight some examples in the wild of election offices across the country who are doing some really amazing work. The new Dauphin County, Pennsylvania election office improves accessibility, security, and convenience for voters and election staff. The renovated facility offers expanded workspace, state-of-the-art mail sorting machines to expedite ballot processing, and security upgrades to ensure ballot integrity and protect staff. With ample free parking, voters and poll workers can more easily access their services. This example demonstrates the county's commitment to security and operational efficiency, key points for election administrators to consider when planning upgrades. Kudos to Dauphin County, Pennsylvania, and keep up the great work. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you for everyone for joining us for a great discussion. Resources mentioned in today's discussion have been placed into the chat. And as always, their inbox is open if you have any additional questions. Please email us at support@electionsgroup.com. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.